Alright, let's get to this. I don't really have a Mortal Kombat tier list of any kind to make, so let's do something tangentially related. The Injustice Waifus tier list. As you can see, I've gone back to the same tier list I used to do the roster duster, that one that I made, and I have put all the men in this one. They don't count. I have tried doing a husbando video at least once. I think it was with MK. It's hard for me because I'm not into men. I can identify some characters and go, oh, there's a husbando, but by and large, if I was trying to go through a big list of characters and say this one is, this one isn't, I can't. I'm not good at that. So the men don't qualify. I mean, I could put the Arkham Knight in there because of the comic version, which, you know, it's such a great character, that one. The female Arkham Knight from the comics, she's not a fucking shit character at all. What are you talking about? So the way this is going to have to go is that most of these characters are in the Injustice game, so they'll be based on the Injustice incarnations. Some of them, like Cassandra and Kate, are not. So I'll have to base that on whichever version of the character these are clearly based on. That's obviously the comic version of Cassie, and then in the case of Kate's here, it's clearly the TV version. You know, I could try and be a bit more fair to Kate and let it be the comic version, but they went for the TV version for the game instead of the one from the Injustice comics, so yeah, that's TV Kate. So let's get some obvious ones out of the way right off the bat. Obviously, you know, Rebound Girl, fucking trash. She doesn't even deserve to be on the list, if I'm completely honest. She really is the Chronica of Injustice. I'm also going to say this bitch, because Poison Ivy in the Injustice comics before Injustice 2 came out, she and Harley were pretty much where they are in the New 52, but the two are, if not a proper couple, at least friends with benefits. And then they put her in Injustice 2, and she's just an evil bitch for no real reason. Even though she has scenes with Harley, 2, if I recall correctly, they never even bothered to try and explain it. She's just evil and manipulative, so fuck her, but don't fuck her. Now, the thing about Harley as a waifu is you have to remember, every version of Harley Quinn is a murderer who has killed a lot of people. Like, if most people were to say, well, if you've killed this many people, you deserve to die, you know, Batman should kill people who have killed this many people, Harley would be on most people's lists. She is seeking redemption, I guess, but it's one of those examples of a character seeking redemption where it doesn't get much focus. The character's just kind of forgiven, even though all of this happened in Injustice because Harley and the Joker blew up Metropolis. She's bad. The only reason she's not fucking trash is because she's not a bad character. She would be higher up, maybe good, if she was a bit more developed in her actual arc, but NetherRealm really don't seem to want to focus on that, so yeah, she's out. Now, one question some people might ask is this just the Regime universe, or is it all versions? And I guess I could have made a separate waifu tier list that has, you know, Prime Universe versions as well as the Regime ones. Honestly, it can't be asked. So yeah, plus if I did that, it'd be really weird because some of these characters are clearly not from the Injustice universe. You know, some of these are from the Arrowverse, for example. So yeah, some of these characters don't have a place, so it'd be really weird to include them. So I'm just going to stick with these characters as they are. And one of my first instincts is to put Power Girl really high. The problem is she doesn't really get much in the way of development in Injustice, and from what I've seen of her intro, she's basically just like Supergirl, but more of an asshole. Plus, she's got that fucking dreadful costume. Like, who likes the Injustice costume for Power Girl? I don't think many people do. She would have been way better if they'd gone with a more classic look, which is weird because they did that with characters like Jay Garrick, so it's not like all the Premier skins necessarily fit the Injustice aesthetic, so I don't know why she couldn't get that. So she's going to go in good. Admittedly, some of this is influenced from the original comic version of the character. I really like her. Well, not the original. The original version was an awful, like, ultra-feminist. So she was awful. But, like, the proper... Well, kind of to the New 52 version, to be honest, because she's not as good. Like, the best version of Power Girl easily is the New Earth version, post-Crisis, pre-New 52. So a lot of it is influenced from her because there isn't a lot to work with as far as figuring out her personality in Injustice, because Power Girl doesn't really exist in Injustice, even though it'd be really easy to do so, thanks to the multiverse stuff, but yeah. I'm going to put Selena into good because she did spend some years working for the Regime. Granted, it's supposed to be, I'm pretty sure, that she did that for Bruce to keep him safe from Superman. So you think about that, she's doing this stuff for the man she loves, but at the same time you have to consider the stuff she's doing is really bad. And you know, while the game did a kind of a poor job of characterizing her in Injustice 1 and making it clear that yeah, that is actually how it's supposed to be and not that she's just fucking insane, because that's how she comes off, the comic makes it a bit more clear that yeah, she had had good intentions, but again, she does bad things. Like, do you really want someone to join the totalitarian regime to save you for your benefit? Not really, no. So, unfortunately, she can only go into good. Most versions of Selina would probably go higher. Like, if I was just doing, like, DC ladies, waifu tier list, she would definitely be up there. Along with... Let's be real, hashtag face of an angel, you can't really beat her. She's really fucking good. Great personality, great looks, good fighting style, and she's a good person. She's one of the people who actually maintained her morals throughout. Never turned into an evil murderer. And when that's a qualifier that you have to consider, whether or not one of the heroes became a fucking violent murderer, you know this is not a good universe. It's not particularly fun. Honestly, when it comes to Kate in the Batwoman show, I kind of don't really care. You know, it's one of those things where the trailer really did it no favors. That trailer was fucking awful, but the show isn't quite that bad. There's still a lot of bad and questionable stuff in the show, but because Kate, I feel, is salvageable when being handled by writers who aren't the Batwoman writers. When other writers take over, it's like, oh, Kate's actually not too bad. But then when you actually look at her in her own show, where it matters the most, yeah, so she's not like the most egregious character. So it's kind of weird how she's above Harley. But then again, I am also somewhat biased against Harley because I'm sick of Harley being in goddamn everything. Harley really is DC's female equivalent of Batman. I like him, but I don't want him to be in fucking everything. Like, go a year without using these characters in anything. That's the challenge. But no, they won't do that. I sure can't wait for Harley Quinn to fight the mind-controlled Justice League with a baseball bat in Suicide Squad game. And I guess while I'm at it, I'll also put Sarah Lance in bad. No, that's not really fair, because if I put Kate in don't care, I can't really... Because I like Sarah a bit more than Kate, but I don't really like Sarah either. I think one of the things that frustrates me the most with Sarah is the fact that in Legends of Tomorrow, she's the group leader. She becomes the leader in Season 2. And she's by far the least interesting member out of all the Legends. You know, you get characters like fun characters like Ray and Mick, and just like these absolute charisma machines like Constantine. And then Sarah's just there, and she's so nothing. Now with Cassandra, there really is nothing to work with because she's a mobile game exclusive. She's not based on any other version of the character, so all we can really look at for this one is the comic version. And honestly, she's pretty damn good. She's a really good character when she's not being mishandled. But, you know, like I said before, the salvage attempt was appreciated and did a decent enough job of salvaging her. I mean, that's the kind of thing is this character acting awfully out of character. Mind control and or possession is usually the way to go with it. Or an imposter. That's another option. But it's usually mind control or possession. That just fixes everything. It's like, well, yeah, sure, I guess that makes sense. Of course the characters acted out of character. They weren't in the right state of mind. And I guess while I'm at it, I may as well put in the other characters who have to do this based on the comics. Now, I'm not entirely sure if Silver Banshee is based on the comics or from the Supergirl show, because I know she was in the Supergirl show a few times. I don't recall exactly what she looks like. I think it was a lame look, so I think this is based on the comic version. Because I know that the Injustice 2 mobile game had a bunch of Arrowverse characters included, but yeah, I think this is based on the comic version, and I know nothing about her, so she has to go into don't care. Actually, now I think about it, I'll put Sarah in good for one reason, which is that she is well, she's faithful to her partners, but she will fuck her sister's boyfriend, so no. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, she has to go in bad because, again, she's fucking her sister's boyfriend. Like, is that the kind of person you want as your waifu? Really? No. Get out of here. And the other one is, of course, Jessica Cruz, who is really starting to gain a lot of popularity as a Green Lantern. I think I've read maybe 2 comics that feature this character, so I really have nothing to say. I think she has potential, especially in Injustice. I think she could be a good addition to the cast. But, you know, I think I would prefer Hal to see the trilogy. You know, if they're bound to turn Injustice into a trilogy, I'd like to see Hal see the trilogy through. You know, kind of wrap things up with him and resolve his arc. Let him get some real redemption in. Not just generally, I'm fighting for the good guys now, therefore I'm redeemed. He needs to do something noteworthy, which could be a self-sacrifice that leads to Jessica taking over. There's options. Now, Hawkgirl's an interesting one because, see, the idea is supposed to be, according to her ending, that she was mind-controlled to be evil, which is not something the comic ever addressed to my knowledge. In her ending, the idea is that she's like, wow, Superman did this awful stuff to me, and he also killed Hawkman, you know, her eternal lover, so then she beats the shit out of him in revenge. So she... I think because Don't Care isn't really, like, middle ground. It really is just one where I just don't... I have nothing to say. I guess she's going bad because while she does clearly care for her partner, which is a very important thing in waifu material, you know, characters who mistreat their partners are not good waifus or husbandos. She still does a lot of bad things, and she shows no remorse, or at least Selena does. But then again, there is a question of how much of that was her fault because there was the whole mind control thing. I'm gonna put her in don't care. Because again, she does bad things, but possible mind control, because you could say, well, the ending is non-canon, or you could say that the comic just didn't go that direction, or just forgot to include it. It's hard to say. Well, we won't really be able to know until Hawkgirl appears again, which would have to be Injustice 3 or another comic continuation. I know the current comics are doing like an Injustice 0, like a prequel thing, having a bunch of like Golden Age heroes like Jay Garrick and that showing up, with some covers or some art by Alex Ross. What the fuck? Alex Ross doing art for Injustice? You know, the guy whose art is so synonymous with these classic heroic versions of the characters, and then apply that to Injustice where they're all evil pieces of shit. No thank you. I'd rather not. So now we have Starfire. Now Starfire, I feel like they could have done more with her in Injustice 2. I'm still debating whether or not to do a wasted potential, because her intros with Damian are like, you killed Dick Grayson. Then you go to her intros with Cyborg and she's acting like this is just the old Titans days. Instead of saying, Vic, why are you working with the regime? Why would you do this? But, you know, she is... I mean, we see how much she loves Dick when she... God damn it. I mean, it's accurate to the New 52. We see how much she loves Dick Grayson when she flies away from Titan's Tower, really upset when she finds out the news about his death. So, obviously, she's good material there. She's a good person as well. Plus, voiced by Kari Walgren. So, honestly, she has to go into top 10 now I think about it. I just wish Star had more to do in Injustice. It's one of those things that it becomes a problem when you have such a massive cast. And I feel like it may have worked better for the games if the comics hadn't existed. If the games had just been, these are the characters that currently exist, the heroes and villains, and some other characters will start popping up here and there over the course of the series, but they're new to this. Rather than there are dozens of heroes and villains who already exist, but most of them are just going to disappear between games or just not be around and then show up later, and it's like, where the fuck have you been? I'm not going to explain myself. Supergirl's like the one character whose presence in Injustice 2 gets explained properly. I mean, we know the explanations for Ollie and Dinah, but yeah. So now Kara is a bit naive, and you know, you can understand why. You know, she's working with the people who are allies of her cousin. So she's on a foreign world where she knows nothing other than that there's the danger of Brainiac. So you can see why she is that naive, and she's a good person at heart. You know, she really wants to see the good in Cal even until the end. But I'll put her in good because I imagine she probably would be a faithful partner, and she is a good person. I would just say get a new outfit, because that weird like Superman-esque bodysuit not doing you any favors. It looks really fucking dumb. I almost laugh every time I see the part where she's getting out of her restraints on Brainiac's ship, and she's like, she's got this weird bodysuit covering her. It just looks silly. So, somehow the one that had like the bright red skirt is less silly than this. So then we have, you know, Killer Frost and Cheetah. They're not difficult to categorize. They're just evil bad guys who I can't imagine are very good partners. Vixen has to go into... Well, she has to go in bad as well, because she works with Ra's al Ghul in his plot to murder everyone in the Injustice 2 comics. And no, you're not given a really good reason for it. It's not like she was forced into it or brainwashed or anything. It's just the characters who are animal or plant themed join Ra's and help him to murder many people. So sorry, Mari, you can get fucked. Now the Raven, I don't recall how much of the bad stuff she does is pre-Trigon corruption. I guess I'll just put her into don't care because I can't really say. And that leaves us with these three: Batgirl, Zatanna and Enchantress. I'm not seeing much of Enchantress's personality, actually. But this is actually one of the interesting ones where it's a character who isn't acting of her own accord, but the focus is on the one possessing her, because this isn't June Moon in the waifu tier list. This is Enchantress. And she has a good design. She has some decent animations. I like the way she's kind of like an amalgamation of the movie version and a more classic comic version. I think they did a pretty good job with that. You could argue that Batman is supposed to be along the same lines, but they just did a really poor job of it by making him either too bulky or just another shit all black outfit. Chlorine don't care, because it really is hard to say, because again, she's DLC, so she's not really been part of the story. I don't think she was even in the comics at any point. Yeah, I think because the Injustice 2 comic didn't go for all that long, it's only like a year or two, and she was announced so late in Injustice 2's content cycle that, you know, there really wasn't room to include her in the comic, and she wasn't in the Injustice 1 comic, so, you know, because she's not like a major character who had to be there. So then we have Barbara, who's always good. I wouldn't put her in top tier, but she's at least good. You know, a faithful ally who's always there to help you out. Except when Bruce is, you know, going up against Superman with the Prime Heroes, and Barbara is still around and active, and all she's doing is just, like, I think she's actually playing video games in some room and in contact with Harley during the Ground Zero comic, which runs alongside Injustice 1. But yeah, Barbara's still active as Batgirl from around year 3 of the comic up to the events of the Injustice 2 comic, and there's no explanation for why she isn't in either of the games. I think she's just on standby for Injustice 1, and then 2 has no explanation. There's Zatanna, where there's even less to figure out Zatanna's personality than Enchantress, because she's the DLC for Injustice 1, where they didn't even have intros. She's fine in the comic, so I guess there is more to work with than there was for Enchantress. So yeah, so we have Black Canary as best girl, Cassandra Cain and Starfire as top tier, asshole-ish Power Girl, potentially unstable or unreliable Selena, super naive. And I'm making them sound really bad, honestly, when I'm describing this and putting them alongside these two. It's just there's no tier above this to put them in, or one below that to put them in where they fit, because they don't fit there and these three don't fit there. But yeah, I think that's a good one. OMG, I can't believe NetherRealm only has the one brown girl, and she was only a premier skin. OMG, NetherRealm, more like racist. While there's probably going to be disagreements on these characters, I think generally people will be able to agree with my assessment that Black Canary is best girl, Cassandra Cain and Starfire are top tier, and Rebound Girl and this weird retcon of Poison Ivy are both fucking trash. But I know somebody's going to say, oh, Wonder Woman top tier, oh my god, and those people can just shut the fuck up. Your opinion is factually wrong, factually incorrect, and it is so incorrect, in fact, that you don't deserve to have an opinion. Shut the fuck up.